I know that in 1978, you started out in Vancouver, which is where you were just before making the jump to Stu's territory. For those who are geographically challenged like me, Vancouver is in Western Canada up above Washington State, and Calgary is about a 10-hour drive back eastward, but still very far removed from where you had made your bones in the wrestling business thus far. So, Jake, I say all that shit to say, how in the world did you get to the Vancouver opportunity so far away from home?
Well, Buck Robley, who helped me so much, got me going, sat me down and had a talk with me. And he explained to me that something I already knew, that I was really intimidated by all the wrestlers.
Mm.
And especially those that my father had wrestled. Because lots of times they would take opportunity to give me a shot or two that they wish they'd given my father.
Oh.
And they were very uncooperative in the ring. They wanted to see me fail, I guess. I don't know what the hell was going on with some of these guys, but they just were what they were. And it wasn't helping me. But Buck told me, he says, why don't you let me send you someplace that nobody knows you and nobody's been around your father, and maybe you'll get the opportunity to grow.
Mm.
And I said, well, what are the other options? And he explained to me there weren't many options. So I asked him where in the hell I was going, and he told me Vancouver, Canada. And I'm like, holy fuck, I'd never even heard of that. You know? And I had to get my World Atlas out and do some research on it to see it. And yeah, it's above Washington State, all right. It's in another country.
Yeah.
So I took the opportunity. Buck told me, listen, you got a long road trip up there. I think it was like 2,500 miles. He said, on that road trip, think about who you'd like to be. Because you can be anything you want. Your character is up to you.
Mm.
What do you want to be, and how are you going to present it? What's going to be your finishing maneuver? What's going to be this, that, and the other? What's your character going to be like? And you think of these things, and when you go up there, you just go about doing it. Nobody's going to know it's the first time you did this character. So just go up there and be something that you want to be. You know, think about the guys that you want to copy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I thought a lot about Dusty. I thought a lot about Wrestling 2. And I thought about Buck Robley and Bob Sweetan and Hiro Matsuda and Danny Hodge and those guys. And I got in that car and I started driving, bro. And it took me 3 days to drive it.
Holy shit.
You know, and that was driving, 600-700 miles a day.
What kind of car were you in at the time?
I was in an 88 Oldsmobile Delta Royale.
Okay.
And it was a beast.
Had to be for that journey.
It was a in 88, the Oldsmobile made a bunch of cruisers for highway patrol.
Mm.
And I got one of them. And of course they had, like a 455 cubic inch motor that was souped up, and it would run like a bat out of hell.
That's a badass ride.
Oh, it was, man. I'd cruise at 90. Just let it go. I don't know how in the hell I got there without getting a ticket, but I didn't get a ticket. And I ran 90 miles an hour the whole time.
3 straight days of driving all the way out to Vancouver, and it's like, for perspective for our listeners, again, you were married at this point.
Yeah.
And if I remember right, when you were with Buck Robley, that was in St. Louis?
That was in Kansas City.
Oh, Kansas City. Okay. And so it's this big journey. What kind of like personal is it just you, the car, and a suitcase?
Yeah, I had a couple of suitcases with my clothes in it, and that was it. I took my wife and baby back to Texas and put them in a home there and said my goodbyes and left Dallas, Texas, and drove.
Dude, incredible. I mean, especially again, this is 45 years ago. There are no GPSs or not even like a printout of step-by-step directions. You're literally by yourself with like a roadmap going to a new place you've never been to before to work for people you've never met before.
Yep. That and a case of beer.
I know that you like to be a loner and like to travel alone a lot of the time. Like, would you say that was a journey that you enjoyed or more of like anxiety?
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. Just got into my music and thought about the character that I wanted to become. What's he going to be like? And I thought, I'm tall, I'm wrangly, and I just wanted to be a wrestler, a Texas country boy or cowboy, and just go from there.
And for the very first time in your entire career, you're not Grizzly Smith's son anymore. You're just your own man.
That's right. I was my own guy. And I went up there, and to my surprise, they had figured me in as to be a main eventer.
Yes. In this is before you even get to Stu's territory, where he made you a main eventer, but Vancouver made you a main eventer.
Vancouver made me a main eventer, and I had the pleasure of getting a real lesson from a guy by the name of Moose Morowski.
Yeah.
And Moose and I wrestled each other quite a bit, and had the pleasure of having my first sellout in Vancouver. We sold out the P&E Gardens, sold it out in a cage match. And I was very fortunate that Moose was going to Japan, so he didn't mind putting me over. So he put me over in a great way, made me look really good.
Dude.
And I was one bloody mess after the match, so I'll tell you that. Moose had taped his blade to his arm, to his hand, wrist.
Yeah.
And somewhere in the match, he went to grab my leg, and the blade popped through.
Oh.
And he ripped at my leg, and when he did, it just cut me.
Oh no.
Cut me about 6-7 inches long. And I didn't know it till my boots started squishing.
Filling up with blood.
Yeah, filling up with blood.
Holy shit.
I'm like, why the fuck is my boot squishing? And I look down and the blood's coming through the laces.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Blood is squishing through my laces. Yeah, pretty awesome.
And again, we talked about this recently. It's at the time, like, there's no insurance thing going on with when you're up there. It's like I assume you had to go get stitches and pay out of pocket, right?
No, I just wound up pinching it together and putting butterflies on it. I butterflied the shit out of it.
You still have a scar?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Man, crazy. And we will be talking more about your time in Vancouver. It might be a bonus episode because you were there for about 8 months. That was about it. And then it was on to Calgary. During that 8 months, so you had said that you moved the wife and kids back to Dallas. From what I was looking at, you were just there. You were in Vancouver. You didn't get to see your wife and kids that whole time?
Nope.
What a crazy business back then.
Sure didn't, man. Sure didn't. Then whenever I got ready to leave Vancouver, I went to Japan.
That's right.
And I spent, I believe it was 12 weeks over there.
Your first miserable run over there.
My God. I worked for a company that was in English meant blood and guts.
Oh God.
And every night they had a cage match. And fortunately for me, I only had to do about 3/4 of them. I could have had to do all of them, but I only had to do about 3/4.
But you every night you were getting that same Moose Murawski treatment,
Oh,
meaning
yeah.
covered in blood.
I was bleeding every fucking night, man. My head was getting so fucking sore.
You know, I see to this day you've still got like a gig mark on your head. Would that be from that run?
I don't know. It probably was.
I would think so. Jake, whenever you're going to Canada, do you have to do anything with the Canadian government? So like work visa, undergo background check, fingerprints?
Back then, we didn't have to worry about any of that shit. You know, you had to have a driver's license to get across the border. That was it.
Was all the money you were making in Vancouver and with Stu under the table?
Oh, yeah.
Would have to be under those circumstances, right?
Yeah, there was no work visa. We just did it.